fact, the next line or the next thought process is exactly on that. I always believe in buying it more at dips.
Yeah.
And I have deployed all my surplus cash which I had
Yeah.
in the last few days, and
Yeah.
there was a big dip in the last few days.
Yes.
So I'm only left with my emergency funds.
Yeah.
But now I'm anxious. How long will it take to recover?
No, first of all, congratulations.
That you have an emergency.
Yeah, because
fund.
because you kept investing when the thing was
Okay.
going down. You captured some of the downside.
Which is nice.
And yes, you're right that somebody who's so well sorted and well thought
Even
out
as an emergency
that you
fund,
have an emergency fund which is separate, you have additional cash, you invest it when it deploys. Don't worry about catching the bottom. I don't think it's possible to catch the bottom. But the fact that you have the ability and the courage to invest when prices are falling, because like I said in the previous question also, people think that these great companies are never available cheap. I know for a fact they're available cheap once in a decade, and at that time you need to be around. And this gentleman or lady who has asked this question
Yes.
has been around at the right time. So kudos for investing at a appropriate juncture. I don't think it's possible to catch the bottom, and I don't think anybody can catch the bottom. But I think in the last few days we've been around that kind of scenario of being near the bottom. It can take another 2-3 months for the situation to start to get normalized, because this virus, see, the virus and the economy and the markets are two different things. The virus is something which I think over a period of next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, like it happened for China, South Korea, Taiwan, lot of these markets, ultimately at some point in time there'll be a semblance of control. But by the time that gets sorted, of course the economy and economic growth has been dented. Now, in anticipation that the economy might get dented by the time the virus is sorted, globally, governments and central banks have kind of sprung into action to ensure that while we control the virus, that's a different battle, but the impact on the economy is a different battle, and by the time this battle is won, the other one should not go beyond repair. So if you see, most economies and central banks are fighting both together. So my sense is that in the next 3 to 6 months, you will see a semblance of normalization where things will start looking better. So if you have invested, don't try to get to the bottom. Keep investing if you can, and don't worry about the immediate term.
Since you brought in the economy, I mean, how much of GDP will we lose? Maybe 1 quarter, 2 quarter, and that
Yeah.
whatever percentage points that we lose
Yeah.
of the GDP growth.
Yeah.
I mean, does that mean that will that be able to justify the discounts that some of these stocks are taking?
Yeah, I mean, it appears, I mean, we have to talk with whatever current information available to us. It appears that there will be a couple of quarters of disruption, different points in time for different countries across the world. Two things to keep in mind. First of all, this market fall is not about India. Let's not confuse that. I was reading somewhere that South Korea, which has supposedly got control over the virus or has a good trend as far as the virus is concerned, they themselves are 33% down since the beginning of the year. So are we. So this is not about India. That's the first thing. So don't draw conclusions on your investment or Indian market based on what is happening. It's all panic in the Western world. That's first. Second, coming to your question, yes, it can dent the economy and economic growth for say a quarter or two,
Right.
but that's already in the prices. Why are so many of these stocks 40-50% down? So just like they overreact on the upside, they kind of overreact on the downside.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.